Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Megan and today I'm going to talk about VRT for PPPD and why sometimes it doesn't work for people and why sometimes it does work. So let's get into it. So first of all, I just want to say that I think VRT is a really great tool. I think it can be used in a lot of different ways, but sometimes people misunderstand it. So they think, do I have to do this? Am I doing it right? How should I do it? How often? Etc. So throughout my healing journey, I have tried VRT 3 times, I think. And the first time it did not work for me. It made me feel way worse. And there is a very good reason for this. I was extremely anxious. So I think that when you do VRT, if you are tense and you are teaching your brain that these movements are not safe to do, you're basically just like, you're shaking your head or whatever it is you want to do. And then you are like immediately hating it, and afterwards you are really panicking about the symptoms. Your brain is going to just be on high alert the whole time, and we don't want that. We want your brain to turn down the danger signal for that symptom. So when you do it like that, you're teaching your brain that this symptom is not safe and it's really uncomfortable, and it's just going to turn up the volume dial on that symptom. The second time I tried VRT, the same thing happened. I was still really anxious and I couldn't get past that. But the third time I tried VRT was when I met the steady coach, and she started explaining to me how the brain and the nervous system work. And then I did VRT with the deep breathing, with somatic tracking, with all of these regulation techniques, and that's when it actually made a difference. So the VRT I was doing was quite simplistic, and you can do anything. You really can. You can even spin in a circle and have that be your VRT. For me, as I did VRT, I got more confident to go out into the world and just live my regular life. So that kind of became my VRT. But when you're first starting out and you're really scared of movement, I think VRT is a great tool to use, and I really recommend trying it. But I would recommend to try to make your own program with VRT movements that trigger your symptoms specifically, because not everyone gets triggered the same way. For me, the worst one for me was like moving my head side to side. So I did that. I did it like up and down as well, like, that kind of thing. But what you want to do with VRT is do it in a controlled way, in a mindful way, so you're not just rushing through the feelings or anything. You are actually taking the time to feel the dizziness, to allow it to settle back down with the deep breathing after each exercise. And that's when it really makes a difference. And it made a difference for me. So once you've done VRT for like a few months and you feel more confident to go out into the world and live your normal life, you can start to let go of VRT. I don't think it's necessary to do it the whole time that you're healing, the whole time you have symptoms. I really don't. Real life becomes VRT, especially for me. I started to go out to supermarkets and restaurants and bowling and playing pool, stuff like that. So real life can be VRT as well, as long as you do it with purpose and you do it calmly, because we want to teach your brain that these movements are safe to do. And you're not going to achieve that effect if you are really panicking. So that's where the deep breathing and all the mindfulness techniques come in. And I'm not just saying this, to be quirky. It genuinely works, and it has a direct impact to your brain when you breathe deeply and tell yourself that you're safe. And the only way you can start to actually feel safe is by putting yourself into uncomfortable situations and forcing your brain to adapt to them, basically. With love, obviously. And yes, this is not an overnight thing. It does take, it took me a few months. Sometimes it takes people a few weeks. So I'm not going to say how long it will take, because it's up to your body and your brain. But I'm going to tell you now that I have felt significant improvement with doing VRT in that way. So I did VRT for 2 months straight, and then I stopped because I was living my normal life. And I'd say VRT helped me so much to gain confidence to go out into my normal life. And then after that, I kind of just would do the deep breathing and somatic tracking every day. And I would do the deep breathing whenever my symptoms increased in a moment, or if I was about to go out and do something that kind of used to trigger my symptoms, I would, take a few breaths and ground myself and tell myself that it's okay, I can do this, all that kind of stuff. So I think VRT is important to a certain extent, but I don't think it's the be-all end-all of healing triple PD, especially triple PD. You know, these mind-body conditions that we have, even with pain, you know, sometimes people get put on this pain regimen to do exercises for their pain, and it doesn't help them because they're more focused on the pain, you know. So same like dizziness, if we're more focused on the dizziness than on living our normal life, we're probably gonna, you know, it'll be delayed in healing because your brain is still so hyperfixated and hypervigilant on the sensations you're feeling rather than what you want to be feeling. That's where, you know, I think body scans, deep breathing, somatic tracking, meditation, possibly. I didn't used to do meditation with my eyes closed very often. I could do it for like 5 minutes, but it would make me feel really bad. So just choose some kind of mindfulness practice for you that you feel comfortable with and stick to that. But I can definitely say that getting back into your normal life is probably the most beneficial VRT you can possibly do. Sometimes a person with triple PD who didn't used to have anxiety can do some VRT, realize that, you know, they're fine and go out and live their life and they'll be better in a few weeks. But others, like me, it can take longer because your body is so stuck in that fight or flight stage that it just can't get past it. And in that case, VRT is never going to be enough. If you are really anxious, VRT is just not going to cut it because your brain is so shaken, literally, and so scared that it's perceiving every single movement you make as dangerous. So just shaking your head around and making yourself even more dizzy is definitely not going to help you. So if you are going to go the VRT route, I really recommend to get on top of the anxiety first. So start the deep breathing every single day. You know, this is not, you don't have to rush this. I mean, I know that you want to get better ASAP, and we all did, but you can't rush it, unfortunately. You're going to have to accept that it's going to take some time, and it won't, I'm not saying it will take years, you know, maybe just a few weeks, but for now, ground yourself, do some deep breathing, show compassion for yourself, maybe do some affirmations, you know, anything you can do to kind of calm your nervous system down is going to benefit you in the long run, you know, even after you've healed from triple PD. And then when you feel like your anxiety is kind of more under control, then I recommend to try the VRT. So, you know, you're actually able to listen to yourself when you're calming yourself down. You want your brain to actually be able to calm the symptoms back down during VRT. And it's okay if you can't do that straight away, because I couldn't, you know, it took me a few weeks to feel like I could actually, the symptoms would come back down afterwards, like immediately afterwards, I mean. Because otherwise it would take me like a few hours to feel better after VRT. The most important takeaway from this video is that VRT is great as long as you do it correctly, as long as you do it with grounding and intention and, you know, calming the nervous system down. That's when the two go hand in hand. And then once you feel more confident, you can kind of forget about VRT. You know, it's not the most important thing for healing, because I've just moved out and my symptoms went absolutely crazy. And there's no coincidence in that. You know, I was leaving my home, which was my safe place for the last 2.5 years. And I was leaving my mum, who was also my safe place, because she was like pretty much the only one who fully understood what I was going through. And leaving to come and live here in Leicester, you know, it's like an hour and a half away from her. And it's awesome. I mean, I've been loving it, but the first week was so hard because my symptoms were just really, really bad. And I was kind of forced into a situation where I had to cook for myself, clean up for myself, you know, everything was done by me. And I really struggled with that for the first week, but I actually continued the grounding exercises and I did the deep breathing and I continued to live my life despite the symptoms. And now yesterday I had hardly any symptoms. Like I literally didn't feel any symptoms all of last night. The evening I felt fine. And it was the first time that I felt like so clear-headed. Like I was like, wow, this is incredible. And I was really, really excited about it. And yesterday, you know, I went to the gym, I shopped, I went to the supermarket and stuff. I was doing a lot of stuff yesterday. And yeah, I felt no symptoms last night, which was incredible. So this stuff works, people. It really works. And I'm going to be making another video on the brain's expectations and why that's so important for healing as well. So stay tuned for that one. It's going to come next. And yeah, just let me know in the comments if you have any questions, if you have a specific video you want me to make, and I will see you next time. Bye.